Today's Toy Spot, we are having a look at the NECA Toys, the Terminator Ultimate Terminator. Spot thought I actually had reviewed this, but I think I was going through my videos, and sure enough, didn't have it. I think the confusion might have been because I had reviewed all the other Terminators up to the point that NECA had re-released a lot of these in Ultimate treatment, was where the confusion lie. The front of the box has some new artwork depicting the unstoppable machine that is the Terminator. Love the artwork there. Carries over to the side that has that classic grid work featuring the Terminator and NECA toys. And then on the back side, it doesn't actually give you a read-up, but it gives you some images of, I would say how you could display the figure, but unfortunately they've added some additional dioramas, which the dioramas are cool. I just don't, I don't have that at my disposal, unfortunately. And then finally, just before you delve into the packaging or into the figure from the packaging, you open it up and you can also see the Terminator here on the assault on police precinct, basically depiction from the movie. Looks really, really nice. On the other side, you can see all the different things that come with the figure. A revolver, a shotgun, machine gun, some interchangeable hands, and not to mention 3 interchangeable heads, which is a nice impressive sight. Impressive sights also continuing on. If you want to head over to www.necaonline.com, you can just enjoy all the cool collectibles and figures that they are producing over there. That being the packaging aside, Spot's going to take a break and get this guy completely out. When we come back, though, we're getting a better look at the Ultimate Terminator from Terminator, or the Terminator. There's more at you, Ray, guys. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Now that we have the Terminator out of packaging, let's get a better look at the figure. Now, really, it's not that much different than the previous released Terminators. Essentially, if you've collected those Terminator figures, this is more of the same. Where it does benefit from it being an Ultimate now released to these figures is the fact that you have the additional articulation not only in the legs, but also in the lower, I guess in the thigh area, and also the lower knee area too, which before was relegated solely to a staction piece. I think you had waist swivel, but that was really about it that you had with the earlier figures. One of the other benefits too with these new Terminator figures as well is that the ball joint system in the head is exactly the same as the older Terminator figures. So if you have all those figures before, so you can simply just pop the head off and replace it with any number of those other releases, which is a nice thing that NECA didn't change or alter that in any sort of way. Let's have a look at his face, and then we'll kind of look at the accessories, we'll look at the interchangeable heads and whatnot, but in the meantime, let's have a look at his face. We'll start there. The face is pretty good. I don't think it's been that much changed from the original initial release of this guy. Maybe a slight change of paint. That's really about it. Got a little bit of white, just, I don't know, chipped, or a little bit of paint residue that's on the glass portion of it. The paint is clean, I don't have any complaints there. A slight pale on the tone color of the flesh, but one could argue the point that he is, after all, a living, moving cyborg. So, yeah, it could be a little colder in his complexion, that's perfectly fine. But the glasses are relatively clean, other than, again, that little bit of white that's just left there. You can't remove it. I mean, the glasses are sculpted into the face of Arnie. If you do prefer something a little bit different, though, they include a couple of interchangeable heads. Actually, let's do it from one extreme to the other, or like kind of the gradual. So we have the glasses version of Arnie here. The figure really could have also just been called Ultimate the Terminator, or the Terminator Ultimate figure. They could have also called this the Police Precinct Assault, or Assault of the Police Precinct version of the Ultimate Terminator. That's just a name. I don't know if that's too long. But one of the other things that he comes included with is a slightly damaged, in this case it's only really his eye, that you know, he's cut his eyeball out in front of a mirror, so that you still have not an overly damaged Arnie, but still just a little bit damaged in the eye portion. Now you can see a little bit more of the facial sculpt, which I think is pretty good. It's not overly dated. despite the fact that they are using what I can only imagine to be the same head sculpts. I think the face are still pretty... I don't think they're outdated, let's say that. I think they're still pretty good. To the other extreme of it, here's one where a lot of his face has been mangled up on the one side, and of course now a visible endoskeleton skull underneath here. I would say, if anything, the paint has been updated. Something a little bit cleaner. Unfortunately, I don't know where my other Arnie Terminator figures have gone to. They're probably in a bin somewhere. But it does look like the paint is slightly an upgrade from what we had before. Other than that, head sculpts are exactly the same. To change out the head, simply just pop the head. Let's bring the camera back a little bit there. There we go. Pop the head off the ball joint of the neck, like that. And then replace it with any number of the heads that you'd like to use. Or again, you can make use of an existing head from a previous Terminator figure by all means. It uses the exact same ball joint system. Really stiff though, I have to admit, getting the head into place here. I don't know if the socket seems a little smaller on the new head sculpts or the additional head sculpts, but very, very difficult to get it actually into the ball joint. Well, I managed to get this head on perfectly fine. I feel like the problem with this particular head, it looks like the hole is smaller. Might have to actually just take something and just kind of open up the cavity there of the head just a little bit more for that to fit into place. This head fit perfectly fine, as did the other head that we already looked at. This head, for some reason, very, very difficult. So it may involve some surgical work on my part. At any rate. Alright, so there's the figure. Stand him up right there. Let's have a look at some of the accessories that he comes included with. To go with the badly damaged head, now that I pick him back up, he comes also with a pair of extremely damaged hands, which have the slightly torn away glove portion of the hand that you can swap out for the existing hands. Those hands, a little easier to change out. Again, I don't know why that head was so difficult to pop into place. There we go. Alright, and it fits perfectly into place. So you have that. I mean, there's really not that much different between that, and let's show you the previous glove. It's not really that much different, depending on how, accurate you want to have it displayed. Obviously, for like this head, or the aforementioned extremely damaged head, I guess those gloves make better sense. But again, it's entirely up to you how you want to have them displayed. Then he comes with a series of weapons. Of course, he would have to come with a series of weapons. He's a Terminator after all. So he comes with a small, and I do mean small only by virtue of comparing it to the other weapons. He comes with a very small revolver, which, despite its size, is nicely painted, at least where the handle's been painted brown. They've even painted in the little pin or little screw there that attaches the handle to the rest of the gun. Nothing on it is moving, of course, for its size. You wouldn't expect something like this to have moving components. Nice little small handgun. A preferred method, though, of displaying him by I'm sure, for the majority, people will be likely displaying him with the two supplied guns, something that is very infamous with his scene going through the precinct, shooting away at the different cops that are standing between him and Sarah Connor. He comes with a shotgun, and then he comes with a small, I'm going to say M16, it's not an M16, but comes with a machine gun and a shotgun that you can display him respectively. You can actually display him with both, really. There is no paint on them. One could argue the fact that there was really no paint, a lot of paint on them anyways during the movie. I think mostly they're just all black. So for that, I mean, can't expect additional paint to be used. And I think for that, I'm going to pop the original hand, or the hand I had taken out. I'm going to replace it with the hand that initially was included with the figure. And what we can also do too, pop the head off and replace it with the initial head. This gives us a true way to display the figure. And you can get the hands into the trigger point of the guns, like that. And go ahead and do the same thing with the shotgun. Fit very easily into his hand. I have no issues at all with that. And you know, you can display him any which way that you want. You don't really have to. He doesn't have the virtue of a super bend in the elbow where you can kind of have the one gun angled back, but it serves what purpose it needs to for a really cool looking way to display the figure. I'll probably display it, I don't know, something along the lines of something like this. Let's go ahead and look at his articulation. Now, essentially, from the head portion down to the torso, right around here, it's basically on par with what you would normally expect with the Terminator figures. By virtue of this being a Ultimate version released of this guy, you have the benefit of the additional articulation down below, but basically everything from the top is same old, same old. You have the ball joint in the head, hinged shoulders, which you get a full rotation all the way around, has a bend at the elbow, a rotation on the forearm under with that same joint allows you to rotate and bend the elbow. A rotation on the hand, also giving you a slight pivot there as well. A ball joint, or what looks to be a ball joint in the upper torso, or maybe it's just a straight swivel. I would imagine it's probably plugged into place by virtue of a ball joint, though you can't really get much motion other than just a little bit up and down, but mostly left and right. Then, because this guy is Ultimate, the Ultimate released Terminator, you can have the hinge in the legs where you didn't have that necessarily before. Forward and back motion on the legs. He also has the bend in the knee, but you got to be careful though bending the knee because the joint is concealed. You got to make sure you're bending it at the right place. So there's your hinge there. You can also rotate the lower leg, and you can also rotate the boot, a hinge back and forth on the foot, and also a very crucial in this case ankle pivot, which is nice to see that included as well. Casual pickups, I don't know if I would necessarily recommend this guy. If you've already collected the Terminators and really just want Terminator figures and you already have the older figures, this guy doesn't bring a lot extra to the table other than the additional articulation. Diehard Terminator fans and ones who have been collecting all the Terminators and really want a definitive release of the Police Precinct Assault Terminator, I think this is the way to go. This extra articulation, I wish had been included with the initial releases of these guys, but it's nice that NECA would go back and re-release these. Some would say double dipping. I would say actually going back and improving the dip. Best way to describe it. So yeah, casual pickups, if you already have this guy in the older releases, you may not really pick up this guy, but I think for the ones that have been wanting to get a definitive, this guy is the way to go. On a side note though, I don't know why they call this just Ultimate Terminator. Like the box even just says the Terminator. We've looked at the Motorcycle Cop T1000 Ultimate release recently, and it actually said Motorcycle Cop or Motorcycle T1000. This one just says the Terminator. We had looked at an Ultimate book version before, which was the Tech Noir release of this guy. I wish they had actually just put on the box like Police Precinct Assault or Assault Precinct, something to make this guy separate with regards to the box artwork so that you just don't simply pick it up and it says Terminator. That's a small gripe. Overall though, like the figure. Today's Toy Spot, we were having a look at the NECA toys. This was the Terminator, Ultimate Terminator. That's all it says. Stay tuned guys, Spot's going to have more videos heading your way. Thanks for watching. See you next time.